Hello, everyone. My name is Micah. This is Ali. I'm the community manager with Score Machine, and we're going to be answering a few questions. So, Ali, do you want to introduce yourself?
Molly, I'm the creator of the score machine. At the end of the day, created a bunch of things. I got the credit repair software, I got the score machine, I got a few different things that we know that the industry really hasn't been up to par on what it needed to do. So we started to create these programs to get the industry to that next level. And the score machine is that latest thing that we've made. That includes everything except for the credit repair inside of it. So it takes the funding, it takes the underwriting, takes all that stuff, jams it in one place and gets it to that next level so you're ready to know where you're able to go and start to get to that next position that you're looking to get into. Take that
Nice.
guesswork. It takes the guesswork out of your file.
That's nice. Does everything for you. Tells you
Uh-huh.
everything you need.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's get into some questions.
Love it. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay, first question. So, what is Score Machine in your own words? I know you
In,
gave a
in
little
my
intro, but
in my own words, it's knowledge.
mm,
It's something that people didn't have before. And what do I mean by that? It's a way that people are able to look at an industry that was really held as secrecy.
mm,
Only certain people had the information to it. It's like, oh, well, hit this score and you'll be able to get funded. Well, that's
mm,
not true. It's got nothing to do with score. It has everything to do with the file. So, that's what the score machine did. It really pushed that next level of ideology with a file to that next level. So you're like, ooh, my file's good, but it's not
mm,
great. My score is great, but it's not good. The file's not good, type of thing.
mhm.
Uh-huh.
That's good. Yeah, it's good. It's like the printing press, knowledge in everyone's hands now.
Yes, and that's
Yep.
with great power comes great responsibility. Quote Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
that's the truth. Is I've had this knowledge for many years.
Mhm,
Now it's time to put it to the press because you needed to know that on how to get to the next level. There's some other things that we've left out, and it's not that we've left it out. It's going to take a massive AI to build it. So the more we build into this program and start building the AI bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it's the way that we could start to undulate and move the file through where it needs to go.
mhm. It's amazing. So, what was the biggest problem you were seeing in credit repair and funding that made you want to build this?
So first off, a lot of credit repair companies did not have a proper progress report. They would just say
Mhm,
progress.
mhm,
Your score went up, went down, whatever the case may be, but they never showed what got deleted, never showed when it got deleted, how it got deleted, in the sense, how, meaning the sentiment of, it got deleted on this day, that's how it got deleted, you did a dispute, whatever the case may be.
mhm,
Um, Now we have a program that immediately shows you in the progress. No software that I see anymore does an analysis. So it analyzes the file and tells you what's wrong with it. We do a dual analysis inside of our file, the credit repair analysis and the funding analysis inside the file immediately. So
mhm,
that's there. And this is the base analysis. We have a new analysis that's coming in the 2.0 and the 3.0 version that is
mhm.
going to blow people's minds away. So this is just at the bottom level. Get ready. We're coming out of beta into a launch version. And when we come into the launch version, that's when we're still keeping it simple because we're working with that MVP. After the MVP and we come into a launch version, it's going to be a completely different game because as we're starting to make funds, you're going to start growing the software with all the other ideas that you have.
Mhm. So, how does the base version differ from the other two?
From the MVP from the rest of the versions, each version is
Yep.
going to have significant upgrades, whether it's analysis, AI, or funding, or underwriting, whatever it's going to get. Um, It's going to, each piece is going to have a new piece that's going to be added to it. It's going to be enhanced, upgraded. Even if it's visual aesthetics and appeal, that'll take time as it keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Do you know how long it will take before the AI is actually implemented into the software?
So each AI, because there's multiple AIs inside the software, each AI is going to take a few months at a time. It's not something that's easy. It's going to take a few months at a time because each AI has a certain systematic build that we have to build and train and feed data and all that stuff. And then once after you're done that, then you can actually start to implement it for that specific portion of what needs to be done.
Good. So, was there a moment when you realized that the whole credit game was like set up for, I don't know if it was like set up for people to fail or just like set up to make it hard for people?
So the credit game is set up in the sense that it's set up for the banks and the bureaus, set up on their end. No disrespect to anybody, like, you got to understand it's a game, and in the game I play to win. So realized that very early because I had a great mentor at the time. When I came into the business, I had a mentor that literally, he taught me a lot of stuff, and he used to read books upon books upon books upon books about just credit in general. And this, I'm talking about, I got into the game in 15, and when I got into the game, it changed everything. It changed everything because, here's the thing. Somebody's like, oh, I'm going to put a collection on your account. Well, a collection's illegal. Wow, why do I know a collection's illegal? Because if you go to a collection agency, they're going to collect the money from me, right? The collection agency never had an account with me. I never signed a contract with them. So if you know what to do, that person that's making that threat to you can't do nothing unless they take you to small claims court. Most people won't take you to small claims court.
Yep.
So because you know the strategy and what's about to happen, let's be real, it's stuff that you can get out of because of just knowing knowledge and knowing how it's done.
Yeah, it's good. So why do most credit repair systems fail when it comes to actual funding?
Because they're not building a file. What they're doing is telling you just get rid of your negatives. They don't do anything else but show you, oh, you got rid of all your negatives, now you're ready. That's not necessarily true. Okay? And a lot of people in the credit repair game in today's day and age, this is the truth, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know nothing about the business. They just got wet behind the ears. They came into the business. They're doing what they need to do, and they go from there. Like, it's really bad. It's unfortunately bad on how bad it is because it's the truth. That's exactly what they do. Here's what it is. That's why we built this. Because it's no longer it is what it is.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so you gotta just like strip down the file and then build it back up.
It's not that you strip down the file. What happens is the file. Let's think about it. How do I put this in a good analogy? It's like a car, right? Cars. You could buy any car in the world, right? Even a Bugatti, right? You could buy any car in the world, okay? And it's going to have its basic components: an engine, tires, doors, windows, a shell around the car. Okay, but here's what happens. When you build a car, you build it out of the best material, right? That you possibly can find. Some companies build it out of crappier material. So when you build it, and I'm just going to use this as an example, when you build a car using authorized users, in the sense of your credit, authorized users, well, you're building a car with plastic for a shell. Doesn't hold up. But when you start to look at each piece of the car and start to look at the tires, the engine, all this stuff on how you're putting it together to build the perfect car, you have to start sourcing the proper parts. You have to start sourcing the proper architect and everything. And let's be real. I'm the proper architect right now. I'm giving you the architectural spot of the car. You need to go put it forward and build the rest of the car. That's the key case in point. You have to make sure that when you're building this car, that everything, each piece, the tire, everything that you're sourcing, everything that you're doing starts to build your car to perfection.
Awesome, Ali. That's amazing. Now, could you do a little walkthrough with what happens when someone logs into Score Machine?
So it's actually simple what happens when someone logs in a score machine. So when you log in the score machine, you're going to basically get into the main page. And when you get into the main page, it'll show you your calendar, which will have every client that you pull tell you when to do their 30-day refresh. It'll show you your links. So you have a link to do an affiliate for your company. You also have an affiliate link. Say you meet somebody who does funding down the line and say, hey, look, I'm using this great software. You want to get paid for it. You have your affiliate link for the software that can be sent out directly through there, through your software. Then you'll have your add a client on the top right-hand corner. And you can start adding your clients immediately. You'll have a client page. You'll have all that stuff ready to rock and roll directly inside of the software right there. And you can start to purchase things as you need them. Because usually you buy one pull. All you need is, say you're just doing it for yourself and you just want one pull, it's $25. But if you want to go and buy multiple pulls, then the price goes up to whatever you need it to. You can buy a single pull every single day. Say you're like, I want 2 or 3 more pulls. You can buy an individual pull. And then you can start to get your enterprise and your small business and enterprise level pulls eventually. Because we are an AI system, you have to pay for the pull because it's pulling from the software, reading it, and writing it. So there's a cost that comes associated with that. So we know that.
So is there an extra cost to pull like your credit report and then put into Score Machine?
It's not there's an extra cost. What you're paying for is that pull. It's like a token. It actually is a token. You get 1 token, which means 1 successful pull. And that 1 successful pull will then do everything that you need to do. No questions asked, no nothing.
So you don't have to use another software to pull your credit report or anything?
No, you don't have to know any codes or anything. And we're building, right now where we're My Free Score now, we're going to be building in Smart Credit. My Score IQ, Identity IQ, and then anything else that we're working down with. But eventually, into the future, we're probably going to have our own credit monitoring software. Not because the other ones are not good, because it'll be built directly in. So there is no building pulls and AI and all that stuff to pull the from another software, another vendor. It's actually pulling it directly in and from the bureau itself, pulling it directly into our software, and then just starting to analyze the file the way that it should.
Yeah, it's awesome. So what's the progress report, and how is it different from a credit monitoring app?
So the credit monitoring apps give you the actual credit monitoring. It's basically monitoring your credit, but it just pulls the base of the credit. The progress report actually goes in depth of the credit and says, okay, this is what it looked like last month. This is what it looks like this month. You went up in score. You went down in score. It'll give you your how much you went up, how much you went down. If you went down, it'll be red. If you went up, it'll be green. Give you based upon all 3 bureaus. And then when you get to the bottom, it'll list your items. It doesn't go in detail, but it lists your items and say negative or delete it. So you need to know that. You don't need to know positive items because nobody cares about positive items because it's positive. It's not that they don't care about it, but they don't worry about it. People worry about negative items, late payments, and inquiries. Like, that's the big stuff.
Awesome. So how does the software actually analyze a person's credit profile?
It pulls the credit profile directly from whatever vendor you're using, My Free Score now, Smart Credit, My Score IQ, Identity IQ. And then it uses AI to go through each data point of the file and see exactly what's wrong with the file. So, in the same thing, what it's analyzing is analyzing the validity of the file, analyzing the numbers of the file, what each thing is going on, how it's doing, what it's going through, all that stuff. So a lot of the things is we double check and we go through each piece of it. And it was a human touch before. Now it's not. We don't need a human touch in this. It is just a physical it's a physical AI doing it, and it's doing it each time perfectly. So that it's not, a human would make a mistake. There is no mistake anymore. The human doesn't, the person doesn't make a mistake like a human. Make sense?
Yeah, that's good. So what kind of metrics or logic does the underwriting system use?
So the logic that it uses is the logic from the banks. So being an old underwriter, I know a lot of the metrics, but then I also had conversations with funders. And the metrics and the logic that come into play were what they were seeing success with. So let me give you a good idea. Okay. So I know that a client, I could start a file at 680, right? But instead of starting at 680, we started at 700. Why did we pick a 700 credit score instead of a 680 credit score? Well, we know that the people who were funded at 700 were more likely to get $30,000 than the person who was funded at 680. The guy who was funded at 680 was able to get $18,000. So in the system, the AI built in, it sees what your approval is, because when you write approved, you write the amount that you get approved for. You have to fill that out. Why? Because if you fill it out, it builds the metric in to fill where you are, because it'll pull the credit report. It'll say, okay, this person had 680. Okay, it had X, Y, and Z done, and this is why it didn't get where it needed to. But this person had a 740. Okay, and because it had a 740, excuse me, because it had a 740, it did X, Y, and Z. So now we're changing the metric completely in the system. So it could be 20%, it could be 10%, 2%, whatever the case may be. But it's building the system in that sentiment of knowing what an underwriter is looking for, how they're looking for it, and all that stuff. Like, we have one of the metrics built in where a lot of these gurus will tell you get an authorized user when you have a maxed out credit card, right? No. We don't tell you that. We don't tell you to get a primary trade line. We tell you you need to pay that trade line down, because the metric says, okay, for people that had a file that was overutilized, got an authorized user, put it in to take the total file down to under 30%. What happens is the bank still viewed that card as over leveraged, and because it was viewed as over leveraged, they viewed the whole file as over leveraged, because technically that file is over leveraged, and they're going to know that. So you need to be smart about how you handle it so that you can focus on getting that client to their next level. Because let's be real here, that is a difference between these items that we have and these metrics that we have are a difference between a $50,000 file getting you $100K and a $50,000 file getting you $10K. That's the difference of our metrics. And they're like, what do you mean a $50,000 file? A file in the middle of the thing means that it's an okay file, but you never know how the bank is going to sway on that day. So the bank may release more money, earnings may have came out, and they need to put more out into lending. So you don't know where you're at in that specific day. So don't worry about it, because you already know where our metrics are at. And if our metrics are higher than where they're supposed to be, that the bank requires at a minimum, then you have a better chance of grabbing more of that proverbial money that's out there.
Yeah, that's good. Can the software tell you why you're not fundable?
Absolutely. We have checkboxes. And what I mean by checkboxes, it'll be a checkbox to make sure that you meet each metric and parameter. If you don't meet the metric, there's a red box. If you meet the metric, it'll be green with a check mark. That's it. You don't have a bunch of... If you don't have a bunch of green, go for it.
I was going to say, are the metrics hard to understand if you have no idea what you're doing?
I think it's greatly breaking down, but again, we listen to the community. If the community tells me still they don't have a clue of what they're doing, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I try my best to keep it simple, but at the end of the day, some people tell me that there's a possibility for it to be hard for somebody to understand. But I try my best. Let's be real. More green boxes with checks, the better off you are. The more red boxes with no checks, hey, you're pretty up a creek without a paddle.
Seems pretty simple.
Yep.
So how does the score machine deal with things like collections, charge-offs, and high utilizations?
So the score machine tells you that you have a collection, you have a charge off, but it doesn't deal with it. It tells you, sends you to one of our credit repair providers that we have. In this case, if you're working with me and my version of the software, you're going to our credit repair provider. But if high utilization is going to let you know you're going to have to pay that utilization down. Okay. And that's but knowing where it is the key case in point. You know who you owe money to, but do you really know what you need to pay down to make yourself fundable?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. Knowing what you need to pay down to make yourself fundable, that's the key case in point. That's what you need to do. Because I could take a file that is 45% utilization, pay whatever the utilization is to get it under that 30%, get it there, fund myself. Now I get all that credit head, and now my overall file drops drastically, right? Get a couple of zero APR cards, throw those balances on that card, pay that down even more with no APR on it. That's the key. That's, and these are just hacks. These are just hacks. These are genius hacks of moving money around in the credit system from one bank to another to get rid of all their garbage. And then you get rid of that APR and then pay it off immediately. And what happens when you pay it off immediately? Your life is gravy, baby.
Yeah. That's kind of nice that it puts everything in the file together and it makes it easier to understand.
It is. It definitely is. And that's why we try to keep collections and charge-offs and late payments and all that stuff out of it, because it's not a credit repair software. It's a credit tool. And being a credit repair software, now it changes the game, leave muddy water, murky water. I don't want any of that muddy, murky stuff. I want everything legit, easy to understand, and in a sense of what you're using the software for is to change the level and dynamic of the people you're dealing with.
Yeah. So when someone's ready for funding or ready to get proof for funding, do they just go to the bank and ask for it, or are there better strategies for that?
So the strategy that we have and what we do is basically give them the bank and where to apply. Okay? Okay? That's what we do. We're going to pick your banks, and we're going to use AIs to pick your banks. Why? Okay? Let's be real. I'm going to be straight with you. This is the truth and the fact of the matter where we're at over here. The truth and the fact of the matter is that you use the AI to show who's got liquid money. That those are the first banks that you put. Then you take those first banks, okay, and figure out who they're pulling from, and then you don't utilize that. So if I know that the bank is pulling from Chase and they're pulling Experian, I don't give you the next bank of Experian. I give you the next bank TransUnion. Or I'll give you the next bank Equifax. And then I do that 3 times. Now I just have 3 different banks with only one credit pull. Then I do it one more time on the next bank with a different bank. Okay, and we do it 3 more times, and now I just got 6 rounds of funding. 6 brand new credit cards, whether it's credit cards for the business or personal. Okay? Then, after that's done, okay, I have the opportunity to teach you, okay, how to remove your inquiries over the phone. If I teach you how to remove your inquiries over the phone, it's a basic phone call. Use it for Experian, use it for anybody. Now I get those inquiries off of things we don't have. Now we clean that back up. We go on and do what we have to do.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, my friend. It's a beautiful thing.
Is there advantage if you're applying online or if you're applying at the actual bank? Or one or the other?
So a BRM, or a business relationship manager, even a personal banker. Okay. I have relationships in every bank that I deal with. I move money from one bank to another until the banker calls me. Okay. When a banker wants business, they're going to call you. So they're going to call you immediately. When they call you, now you've developed relationships with that bank, the person in that branch, and they're going to move a little bit of mountains, but it takes money to make money. Okay. So you need to move at least $10,000 in and out of banks. Okay,
Yeah.
but when you move it, the relationship manager calls you. Now you develop that relationship manager. Now everybody wants to deal with you. Okay, sometimes it starts with 10. You can move 40, 50, 100. The more you're moving, the more they want to the more they want to do business with you. Then yes, it is better to go to the branch than do it
Hmm.
online. But then the flip side is, it takes the time for you to actually go into the branch. But
Hmm.
you have a better chance of an approval if you go into the branch, especially if you built a business relationship. That's the truth.
It's good. What's a real world credit stack someone could run after running through the system?
They, you know what it is?
But
People talk about it, but they don't show it. Here,
yeah.
I ain't a fake guru. It's right there.
Mm.
I
It's a
ain't a
couple
fake guru.
inches. Yeah.
It's all here. It's literally here. And I'm not gonna take them all out. I'm just gonna start with the top stack. Chase, Discover.
Hmm.
You have Amex. This is a store card that don't count. Amex. Real word stack. Amex. And now these are business and personal cards as well. All right, this one has the numbers on the front. Can't show that. But this is a Chase one. Chase. And then a couple more store cards, American Express, all over the place. So we have a little bit of everything all over the place, and that's the sense of this is a real world stack. This is real money. This is things that we deal with, whether it's business, it's personal, it's all together. I believe in personal and a business stack. Your personal stack and your business stack should happen immediately. The minute that you're opening up your business, you're doing anything, you should have your personal and business stack running rock and roll immediately. Some other people don't believe that. Some people believe that you don't need over 5 credit cards. Knowing from the underwriting standpoint in the bank, the more the better.
Okay, so there's no limit on what you should have. Because I feel like some people will forget.
Limit. There is a
Okay.
limit. There is
Okay.
a limit. Here's the limit. You can have 100 $1 credit cards, or you can have 10 $100,000 credit cards.
Okay.
Which one do you want? It's all about, and this is what I said before. It's all about the quality, not the quantity. It's all about the file and not the actual score. So the quality of the file truly matters in the sentiment of what it is. And how does it matter? It's exactly what the cards that you have. You should be calling for credit increases all the time. Every 6 months, you should be doing all this stuff. Like the other day, I went to do a pre-approval. I got a pre-approved to Discover for nothing, just for me hitting a couple buttons.
Yeah.
I put it in the community.
Yep. So how does it protect people from applying for the wrong credit cards or loans and then getting denied?
Say that again? I didn't hear you. My bad.
How does it protect people from applying for the wrong credit cards or loans and getting denied?
So here's the thing. You can't choose what the bank is going to deny you for. Okay? I'm not taking the blame off of us, but the bank could deny you because you could be blacklisted and didn't even know it. Okay? I can't do nothing about that. I don't have any secret thing into the bank's back end where they tell me if you're blacklisted or not. So I can't tell you that. But does it set you up for better success than somebody who doesn't know this? Absolutely. The gurus are teaching all their kids how to do this, all their students. I'm not teaching them. I'm showing you how to do it. I'm not charging you to do this. You're getting this for $25, and this is at the forefront. Who knows? In a year from now, this may $250 for one pull. But it all depends on you. But you have to know what the power is of this information.
Yep.
This also works for mortgages. This also works for car loans. This works for anything. It's just not funding. It's getting money from the bank in any sort.
It's good. So what are the top 3 mistakes people make when trying to get funding on their own?
They don't know crap about their file. Simple and easy as that. I'm not even going any further than that, because if I dive deeper, dive deeper than that, people don't know what they don't know. Don't even dive. Don't look into that further than that. The reason that we built this software is because we knew that factor. We knew that you didn't know. Because you didn't know, that's why we built this. And it's the truth.
Awesome. Is this just for personal credit, or can it help with business credit too?
We have both of them. We have both of them. I just built out every bank that we're building. We're building the personal side and the business side at the same time.
So can someone check to see if they qualify for business credit too?
Right in the underwriting.
Okay, so you just does it toggle it back and forth?
Nope. Right at the bottom. It's built into that same underwriting sheet.
Okay. Is there a big difference between the qualifications?
30 points, give or take.
Okay.
30 points, give or take.
Yeah.
It's your business funding is it's got to be a little higher. Your credit's got to be a little higher, about 30 points.
Okay.
No, it's like, hold on, wait, what?
So could someone hypothetically with a 600 score get funded?
So yes and no. Yes and no. They could get funded through other means with high interest things and things like that. It depends on what interest, what industry. But to get the best quality funding, they need a higher credit score.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why I say yes and no. You could do anything you want. I can go to a loan shark tomorrow with a 600 credit score and doesn't mean that that's the best loan.
Yeah, 60% APR.
But that's the thing. Yeah. Can somebody get funded? The question that you ask, can somebody get funded? Absolutely, with a 600 score. But the type of quality of the loan that you're looking for is not going to be to the liking. Like, car loans under a 650 credit score, the APR goes through the roof. They'll go 12, 14, 15%. Now, all of a sudden, on your car, your principal, your interest is higher than your principal. But I tell people, take the car loan out, pay the principal for 6 months, get your credit fixed, go back and refi, and now you take a lower car loan out, and then what you do? Kiss my behind, I still got the car at the beginning. I'm going to work, I'm making my money, and I'm fixing my credit.
That's good. What about someone who has money but doesn't have structure?
Break that down for me. I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm not there.
They make $250,000 a year, but their credit profile is really bad. Or their credit profile is not very big.
This is what we discussed last week. So the sentiment, it's not about the credit. They have bad credit profile. What they have is they have. I make money. I don't care about my credit. Okay. Instead, it should be the vice versa. I make money. All I do is focus on my credit. Let me tell you something. I'm looking at my credit card statements every day. I make money. I don't give a crap. I make money. Because I make money, that's why I look at my credit card statements every day. Because I know if an opportunity comes to me today, and say I don't have liquid $3 million. But I know I can go get liquid for $3 million from the bank, not to miss out on an opportunity, right? I go get liquid $3 million from the bank, and boom, I'm liquid. Okay. So the opportunity is, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Being liquid immediately with that opportunity because your credit is in the right position, that's the game.
Yep.
That's the game.
Yep. That's good. So what does someone not see in Credit Karma that they see in Score Machine? Or that Score Machine breaks down that they don't see in Credit Karma?
A lot. I don't even have a list for you because I don't even Credit Karma and us are not even competitors. Yep. Credit Karma will give you a list based on your score. We're breaking it down based upon what the bank is doing. Okay, who's got the most? Credit Karma gives you your credit report. We tell you to go pull any report that you want and give you a 3 bureau, not a 2 bureau. Okay, Credit Karma's free. You get what you pay for Credit Karma. We're not. So you're going to get what you pay for us. You also have AI built in with us. Okay. Now, eventually, Credit Karma is going to build in AI. I know it. I'm not even going to say no.
Yeah.
They'll eventually build in AI. But by the time that is, I'll probably be in 3 years in business, 4 years in business with this, and getting ready to look to sell and get out.
There you go. Why do people get stuck in credit repair mode forever without moving forward?
Repeat that one more time. Let me digest that again.
Why do people get stuck in credit repair mode forever without moving forward? Like, maybe they don't know what qualifies them, so they just keep.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I have to skate the line on this question because the question is very, very bad. And I'm not saying that the question is bad the way that you wrote it. It's the bad on the person that's listening to this because they know I'm going to strike a string with them. Okay? Why a person stays in the never-ending cycle of credit repair? Because they never learned financial tactics. They never executed on what they needed to do to finish. They never got the financial means to finish what the job was that they're doing. They stay in the same spot like a hamster on a wheel, and they don't ever get off because they keep running and paying an APR and doing all that stuff because that's where they need to stay. Okay? That's what's going on. That's why they stay in that position of credit repair, because they just turn around, oh, well, it's not working. You've been here for a month. What do you expect it to work? Well, yeah, it should have worked already. No. It took me 3 years to fix my credit when I got my credit all messed up. 3 years to fix my credit. But I got an 815 credit score now. Am I at fault? Am I stupid? No, I'm not stupid. Because that money that I was able to get in my first round of funding 2 years ago built my six-figure business. It built the software. It built the things that we're doing. So, to the people that are listening to this, to the people that are potentially thinking about what we're talking about, you need to understand something. Your funding and the way you go through it has the opportunity to blow up like wildfire. But you have to know that it takes time. It took me 5 years to build a stellar profile. But you want to know something? I walk into a bank now, and every bank manager comes to shake my head. Because it's the difference. I realized one thing and one thing only. Cash is king, credit is queen. And because I understood that statement, I knew how to build it like wildfire.
It's good. So what would you tell someone who's scared to look at their credit report?
What you scared of? Sorry, I have no subtitles. My face just said it all. What are you scared of? It's not you're going to kill yourself. You're not going to do anything. Like, you're not scared of something that is going to hurt you. You're scared. If you're scared of the unknown and seeing what you've truly known that you messed up on, then you shouldn't be scared. You should be like, what do I got to do to fix it? But people are afraid of the sentiment of my actions have consequences. And that's what they're afraid of. But if you know now that my actions have consequences, I know how to fix it, I know how to get money, I know what I need to do, well, now everything changes. Make sense?
Yep. What's your ultimate goal with Score Machine?
This one's a good one. I want to do $1 billion in funding. I want to do a big old B in funding. Got to be hard. But between doing personal and business credit, we're going to add SBA eventually. We're going to add, I don't like this, but somebody made a very valid point to me. They want me to add MCAs eventually. So adding all these different avenues that they can go down to get funding, whether it's personal, it's business, it's SBAs, it's MCA loans, or whatever, micro loans, anything else that we can find. And we're not going to add it where, we're sending you to like a Lendio or something like that. No, we're going to be dealing with the banks.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
going to be dealing with the bank that does a microloan. We're going to be doing hedge funds that do microloans and things like that. So there's things that are going to come, and when they come, it's going to be huge.
That'd be good.
And that's where we're at. So, between you and I, eventually gets to that point where we understand that. We understand that we need to grow and make sure that it's the right thing. So the ultimate thing is to be able to do at least $1 billion in funding in the software, whether it's them coming through us to do the funding or them doing it yourself, because we have two different avenues that are built in. Well, one avenue is the do-it-yourself fashion, and the other avenue is we do it for you. So
Yep.
it's huge.
Yeah, it's awesome that you give people options eventually. Like, there'll be a whole system.
Yeah, they definitely.
Yeah. So where do you see Score Machine in the next 12 months?
Within the next month of launch. After that, I would say in 11 months of just straight grinding, marketing, influencers, affiliates, whatever we can do, just straight grinding every single day until we get to a point of heavenly bliss where it comes to that. There's people that are doing $5-6 million in funding a month. If they're using our profile to even see that they're underwritten through us and it's cutting their time in half, you're talking about a person speeding up their funding time immensely quick. So now adding on to that stuff will be huge. So where do I see it in the next 12 months in the mainstream of it going to being a household brand for people that are really getting to that point? To anybody that's in the credit repair industry, anybody that's, funding industry, any of that, we want to bring it to the household brand of this is what it is. This is what it's going to grow. Making sure that UI looks nice and getting better developers and better designers and things like that, because that's the truth. The case in point that the system has to grow. If the system doesn't grow with the people that we're working with, it's never going to make it anywhere. You're like ready, just to give you guys an idea of, whoever's listening to this podcast, when you do, think about it like this. What we're talking about taking it from where it is now to a huge point where you could do anything with your file. And that's the case in point. Like, we built with as little money as we possibly can, and as we start building with the money that comes in, it's going to grow like wildfire. So we can't wait to actually see that. And implementing our own AI, like, we've already spared no expense, like AWS servers, things like that. Like, we're building big right from the jump. So we're not messing around.
Okay. So can people? It's active, right? People can sign up right now.
Yeah, I'll throw the link in right here. Hold on. Boom. Right there at the bottom. Sign there right there. Right at the bottom.
Nice.
See that at any time. And when we upload this, it'll be at the bottom. Mr. Michael will include it in the community, and it will also be in any descriptions. If this is on YouTube or wherever, it'll be on any descriptions that we're working on.
Awesome. Last question. What's one thing you wish everyone knew about credit and funding that nobody's talking about?
Should I say it? I mean, what's about to come out of my mouth is stupid. So I'm not going to say it in the sense of the way that it is, because it's not right. But I will give something that nobody is talking about in funding. And what they're not talking about is how easy it is. They're not talking about how easy it is to set up a file. Once you have the parameters, once you have everything that you're looking at and what you know, it'll change the whole game. So I know, I know that it takes me, no exaggeration, it takes me about 30 seconds to set up a file, because all I got to do is click add client, fill out the info, hit add the credit monitoring, hit add again, pulls the credit report, go to underwriting, and know what's on the file. And once that's explained, it changes everything. So I'm truly in that essence and understanding right now that this is what's going on, and that's what somebody wish they knew, because they're not talking about that. If everybody was fundable, everybody would be fundable, but they're not, because nobody's telling you that you need to be fundable.
Yep.
That's the key. Then you said last question, right? That was the last question?
That was the last question. Yep. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
I was going to say, any more that you want to do before we close out? Anything else that you have off the top of your head that you want to do?
Questions?
Now every podcast that we got to do, right, you got to wear that hat. It's 2 hats.
Okay, I got it.
Two classes in a row that you put that hat on. I don't know why, but... I was freakishly monstrous last week with my beard and everything. And nobody want to tell me, but I come in this week and I'm like, I need a haircut. My wife gave me one of those looks like I woke up one morning and she was like,
yeah.
I was like, okay, time to go get a haircut. So,
time to go.
Between you and I, like, you gotta wear that. You gotta wear that going forward. Like, you can't not wear that now. I don't care if we gotta buy you like 4 or 5 hats. We're gonna buy you 4 or 5 hats going forward.
It's gonna be the same one.
It's got to be the same one. It's got to be the same one.
Hat.
Same hat now. It's good luck for us. But yeah, if there's no other questions and anything, like, let's close this out. Let's get this. I know we're gonna get better as we go through. Credit repair software, funding software, business in general. There's a lot of things that we're going to discuss. Like, last week was a business question. This week's a funding question. Next week will probably be a credit question. We're going to try to do this once a week, every week, in a podcast style format, and post your questions, anything that you want us to talk about, so we can go over it. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You want to close this out, Mr. Micah?
Awesome. What do you mean, just close this out?
Close this out, like give a farewell thing?
Oh, I was gonna say, I already said thank you everyone for coming. It's good to have you guys here. I'm glad we got to learn more from Ali. It was a really good day, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Bye.